wonderful to meet all of you. I have a very small presentation, right? So that's what I'm not going to take more than 10, 12 minutes at the most.
Yes, Simran, just let us know whenever we need to kickstart.
Yeah, I think we welcome Dr. Savita also.
Shivani,
Savita is
able to see on your screen live on Facebook, so you can start. Okay.
All right.
okay.
Okay. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining another episode of.
Just a minute. Hello. We are just preparing. You will be able to see live on Facebook.
Okay. When I see that,
It will display.
Yes.
So
Okay.
once it is displayed, then you can start, Shivani.
So, all right.
Yeah, it will take few seconds.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining another episode of Bringle Blended Learning sessions that they are bringing to you on a weekly basis. Today we are discussing how to make the virtual world alive. It's another impactful session with experts from those in the field. Some of the things that we will of course consider right now is the impact of strong leadership and teamwork in entrepreneurship. That is our topic today, and this is me, Shivani Roy, bringing it to you. I am the host for the session. I'd like to also just quickly mention Dr. Hari Krishnamaram, who is here. He is the digital brand ambassador at Vision Digital India, and also Ms. Sharmila, who is the co-founder of Bringle Academy. Now, coming to our session today, we have our chief guest, Ms. Mitha Ranganathan. She is the professor of contemporary marketing at SP Jain School of Global Management. That's not it. She has over 19 years of experience as an advertising and brand communications professional. She has donned various hats in advertising agencies, currently teaches digital strategy and contemporary marketing at the prestigious business schools across India, Singapore, Dubai, Sydney. She's involved with a lot of honorary marketing as an advisor at NABARD and Ministry of Textiles. And she also runs an all-women social enterprise and online e-commerce platform. That's not it. She's a recipient of numerous awards, such as the Bhumika Iconic Women Award by the Times of India Group in 2017. She's also an enthusiastic contributor to popular media publications. She has over 46 publications and is a columnist for the Times of India, Economic Times, the Hindustan Times, Washington Post, Huffington Post, BBC, you name it, it's all there. Quick note on our other speaker who will be joining us very quickly, very soon after her is Mr. Joshua Gerard. So I will come to him thereafter. So Ms. Mitha, if you could please share a few lines about yourself and of course your thoughts on the topic.
Thank you so much, Shivani. It's been a very, very generous introduction. I think if I were to just say, I'm actually a recipient of immense grace. So I continue to be a learner for life, right? So I think I'm deeply grateful to the opportunities that have made me learn. Given this as the background, I'm quite delighted to share just some thoughts of mine, right? And I'm going to quickly take us through screen share mode. And I want to spend some time try and talking to all of us on what have been my reflections during very, very uncertain times. So I typically, as a part of my work with two sets of people, all of which are my students. I have a lot of students who work in organizations which are really large, and they are actually grappling with the typical issue that all of us are dealing with how do I deal with uncertainty, right? More so in these challenging times. The second set of people that I normally work with are students who are just starting up, or people who are just about looking at a Series A funding. And these are again people who always come up to me saying, how do you think I should deal with the challenges that is being posed? So I thought this is perhaps the right platform to bring up something like this, which is how can I remain relevant and stay connected to customers during such uncertain times, right? So where we've actually gone from an Instagram tag which says you live only once to stay home, right? So there has been such a drastic change in the way we are starting to express what's important to us around us, right? So when I was looking at research papers around what are thought leaders talking across the world, I was quite fascinated by this term called the low-touch economy, right? What COVID has brought to us is the concept of a low-touch economy. What we basically mean here is an economy where touch touch and feel has, sort of almost gone out of consideration in the business context, right? So this basically refers to the way we as businesses are operating across the world, and we are actually being forced to operate in a way where we've never operated before in order to emerge successful as a result of COVID-19. So this is what we refer to in the context of COVID. And we're talking about three critical spheres of influence that we see here. One, we are all sort of, recipient of very strong social and regional regulations, right? Which is making us really reinvent the way we have connected with our stakeholders, whether it's about temporary lockdowns, whether it's about travel restrictions, or for that matter, simple social distancing norms. We've never been used to this, right? The second area of sphere of influence that I see where COVID's really impacted is it has a huge impact on how we behave as a society, right? So there are lots of precautions. There's a lot of, suspicion in terms of in the way we connect, in terms of the kind of groups that we are part of. And most importantly, all of this has had a huge impact in the way the economy has responded, right? So businesses are to go through pivots. There's a huge amount of division in terms of essential and non-essential resources. And all our plans for the short and the long term have all gone out of the window thanks to what we are facing now. So this is another thing that I found is very interesting. Given all of this, what are we doing? You actually find there's a very interesting feedback loop that is emerging in the so-called low-touch economy, right? There is stringent emphasis on health measures, which essentially means there are a lot of aspects which are now disrupting the economic scale at which we are doing things and how businesses are responding to it at the macro and the micro level. So this is something that you see is happening. As a result of this, there are huge behavioral shifts that you see are actually coming up. Now, the way people interact with employees, the way people interact with customers. And at one end, as much as businesses are talking to customers, asking them to take a lot of care in reaching out to them, there is also an increasingly, increased emphasis on nudging people through desirable behavior. So there's a very interesting feedback loop, which I'm sure you and me have never learned this as a part of our textbooks. Maybe the next generation of business students will, for the first time, understand and appreciate the importance of this. Given all of these contexts, all right, the next question is, we know there are lots of challenges. How can I as a brand still remain relevant and stay connected? So what I'm going to do in the next 5 to 7 minutes after I've put this context is to take you through a framework which I thought was very interesting. And I call this the HEART framework, right? Where each one of these 5 different strategies to remain relevant is sort of, come up as an acronym in HEART. Of the HEART, the first aspect which I want to talk about is More than ever, thanks to these unprecedented times, it's so important for us to humanize our brand, the brand that we stand for, right? Now, we've also found, as much as a lot of businesses have tried to reach out to their stakeholders and shown means of being what it takes to really care, there have been equal instances of businesses being very exploitative in their approach. So I believe to really remain relevant in the long run, it's so important for us to look at how can I humanize my brand, where a brand goes beyond transactions and they find ways to connect with their audiences, both internal and external. What I've tried to bring in here are two very interesting case contexts. One is the moment they realize that there's going to be a lot of work from home eventuality that was coming up. SAP Labs, for instance, released something called, they have a platform. Qualtrics is one of their offerings, and they have something called Remote Work Pulse, which was an on-pay platform which they made it available free of cost to so many businesses, especially small and medium businesses, which did not really know how to grapple overnight with work from home realities. Now, this basically talks about how can you actually go out there and actually show what you stand for, all right? This is something which I thought really stood out as a means of humanizing a brand by a technology player. The other interesting example that I came up with was a restaurant called Sugarfish. You actually see this logo on the top right, which is a New York-based sushi serving restaurant. What they actually did was this. They realized that thanks to COVID, people are now going to be coming into restaurants. So obviously takeaways increased. So to still make sure that their employees were repurposed and they didn't have to send them away, or to continue remain connected with the actual audience. Every time an order would come in, they would get the chef, they would get their employees to talk to them and not just make this like a mindless ordering app. Not just that, they would get the restaurant order takers or the bartenders to actually pay a visit to the house of the person who was ordering to still remain relevant, so that the brand is still relevant to them. So the first aspect that I'm talking about is remain human, find ways to empathize with your audience and humanize your brand. The second one that I want to talk to you about is the E and the heart framework. More than ever, digital gives you the power to come up with very, very interesting way in agile ways to remain connected to your audience by educating your customer. So the second critical aspect that every single brand needs to wake up to the hour is how can I use digital media in a very effective way to connect and converse with my stakeholders. And what I've tried to do here is to bring up screenshots from two brands which I thought really stood out, especially in the early part of the COVID proceedings that we saw. For instance, you've always seen Nike coming up with this entire thing of, just do it. And for once, Nike had a very different story to say. They said, if you want to play for the world, you play inside and you stay safe. Now, this was, according to me, a huge vision and an effort showed by one of the largest outdoor brands in the world, right? And they actually partnered with a lot of stars, heroes, sporting heroes, like you see Ronaldo here, who actually went out there and tweeted this on behalf of Nike. The other interesting example was not such a glamorous brand, but a very popular banana brand, a Mexican banana brand, which is very popular in the US, called Chiquita, right? If you look at the two logos here, Chiquita has this very interesting, woman or a girl here. She's called a Chiquita girl who has, this entire banana crop on her head. You actually find post-COVID, you don't find the Chiquita lady in this logo. It basically went about announcing that the girl is safe back home, so it's important for you guys to stay home. I think this was fantastic vision that was shown by a brand by using digital media in a very, very agile fashion. So the first one that we spoke about was humanizing. The second that we are speaking about is how you educate your customers on what is acceptable. All right. The third one that you look at in terms of the heart framework is this is a fantastic opportunity for you to associate your brand with the greater good. All right. And we've seen, sparkling examples of this around us. For instance, you actually found overnight when Anand Mahindra went out there and made an announcement that his factories will now start teaming with relevant knowledge providers to try and start making ventilators, right? This was a very similar trend that was seen even in the US, where car and automakers now overnight started to team up, all right, and started making ventilators. So this is something that people will hold very close to their heart in for a very long time to come. How a brand started finding adjacencies, not to clock in profits, but to really stand by the need of the hour for the nation. So that's what's going to make them very relevant in a very long time to come. The other one that I thought was really standing out, again in the Indian context, is what the Tatas did. Now, I do a lot of work very closely with the textile sector. And one of the sector which has been and continues to be very badly hit is the weavers. So Tata's, all right, came up with a neutral platform which allowed the weavers to put up their weaves, especially from the remote parts of Telangana, Orissa, and West Bengal, to put up their weaves up for it. So this was something which I thought was a fantastic way for them to try and create some sort of a marketing reach out for them as they went along. The third thing that you've spoken about is how do you associate your brand to the greater good. The last but one that we want to talk about is, this is perhaps unprecedented times, a great opportunity for you to revolutionize what your consumers value about your brand. It's a great opportunity for you to rethink your value proposition and come up with out of the box ways to cater to what you stand for. Given this context, I found two very interesting examples, and thankfully both of them from the Indian context. Now, Cult Fit, or so-called Cure Fit, has become an overnight success since the last 12 months or so, which is very popular among the millennials as an exercise chain, let's say. A very different way to gymming, right? Because they focus on personal fitness. Now, once the COVID struck, the first 2 months, they made all their members access personalized fitness free of cost for a very, very long time. Today, if you actually go to the CureFit app, they have a fantastic app which allows you to access a range of services for as low as 230 rupees per month, all right, through the day. It starts off right from 5 a.m. all the way till 11 p.m. So it's a fantastic opportunity that, a step that was taken up by a health and fitness brand. Instead of going back and sulking that what do I do with my real estate and all the trainers that I recruited, how do I go about taking everything that I've been teaching online? So that was a fantastic opportunity. The other example that I thought was how did they revolutionize what customers value about their brand was in terms of what the urban company did, right?
అవునా హౌదా సరే ఫస్ట్ టైం చూస్తా ఉంటాను
I think
బుజ్జు నువ్వు ఇట్లా రా ఇది కావాలి నాకు
I think there's some
ఇట్లా నువ్వు
Okay, moving on. Just closing with this part, the other example, stark example of what you saw was happening with revolutionizing the offering was what urban company, or what we refer to as Urban Clap in the beginning, did, where they sort of spent a whole lot of close to 200 crores in terms of just reskilling their employees in this context. So when you say revolutionize what your customers value about you, this is a great example for you to understand your importance of staying committed to both external and internal customers. The last bit is, I think one of the power that digital bestows the current generation, which I was not privy to when I was out there as an advertising professional, was your ability to track trends real time, all right? And based on that, tackle the future possibilities, right? So I did a quick search on what have Indians been searching for, right, through the lockdown. And I was quite surprised to see this as what stood out. There was a 300% increase in search parameter based on the word ration dukan. It basically goes to, emphasize on the importance of marketers to use vernacular or regional language in terms of their online content, all right, which is what we refer to as search engine optimization. Or you'll also find there was a huge increase overnight in terms of the number of people who are using UPIs. So if you actually look at what you see at the bottom, you see there's a 200% increase on search which said, how do I change my UPI PIN, right? So huge possibility for digital exchange of transactions that you see. So all in all, this is where I'd like to conclude, right? It's so important for a brand to stay connected during challenging times such as this. And I would propose the HEART framework for all marketeers to strongly reflect on so that they can continue to remain relevant to customers during this phase, which is full of anxiety. So during anxious times, how do you reduce their anxiety and how do you emphasize on the promise or the hopes that lay ahead of us? With this, I'd like to close my reflections. I'll be happy to take any specific questions if at all, or else I think I'm done with what I wanted to share. Shivani, you're muted.
Yes, I'm back. So I saw some amazing points there, and personally, I've also been a member of Cult. So I did find the whole initiative very useful just when the lockdown started, because I had just bought the Cult package and I was like, what am I supposed to do now? So that was a really good initiative on their part. Now I'm just going to introduce our main speaker, who is Mr. Joshua Gerard. He is many things. So he is the managing director at Excel Technologies and Solutions. He is the founder and president at Chitra Foundation. He's president of the Lions Club Chennai Nightingale. He is the CEO at Mehta Institute of Career and Learning. He's a proprietor also at the Pleasant Stay Guest House. He is the chief operating officer at Tamil Nadu Advanced Technical Training Institute. He's advisor at several universities and trusts. And coming to certain awards, so he's received an award from Abdul Kalam Award for Young Entrepreneurship. Abdul Kalam happens to be a personal favorite of mine. And he's trained more than 50,000 candidates so far, and his repertoire of clients includes Tamil Nadu Police Department, ISRO, the Bombay Stock Exchange, where he conducted training for CSR projects. Thank you so much, Joshua, for joining us. Maybe if you could also please share a few lines about yourself and share your thoughts on the topic.
Thank you very much, Subhani, for that wonderful introduction. I have been an entrepreneur from day one. So I also run a restaurant. I have taken a franchisee from French Loaf, Wang's Kitchen. I'm into organic farming. So I do multiple things. So I'm here to just share my opinion or share my thoughts as to how important leadership and team building is for everybody's career. Maybe you might be an employee in a company, or maybe you're going to start your own business, or you're running your own business, or maybe you are just a student yet. Okay, but whatever role you are playing in your current life today, okay, it's very important to have these two major skill sets in your life. That is, one is leadership and other is team building. So some people they accumulate these kind of skill sets maybe from their childhood. They learn from their parents, they learn from the people around them and all that. And some people, like let us say, they do not have the skill set. They still try their level best to accumulate those skills. How can they learn and how can they improvise? So there's a huge balance between teamwork and leadership, which is always required. The balancing act plays a very important role. You have to be a leader and you have to take everyone in your team together as well. So integrity, success, the contribution which everybody makes, okay, making everybody to support the initiative, motivating them, planning them, being responsible, leading from the front, all that plays a very important role in successful leadership. So this is my inputs about teamwork and leadership on a general note. Next slide, please. So the importance of leadership. So I would like to highlight the impact of very strong leadership. So if you take any organization, the leader or the vision of the company should be very clear. Any organization wherein the vision or the mission of the company is not very clear, it fails. I would like to share a small story with you. So there were a group of mountaineers who were going on trekking, and they had missed the route, and they were finding it difficult. So the leader, the team leader, the person who was leading one of them, he happened to stumble upon a piece of a paper which was like a map, and he said, "Okay, I have found the way. Do not worry, and I will lead you." So based on what he found, he took people to various places, and maybe after a couple of hours of high and difficult trekking, they found that they have landed at nowhere. So then they found out that the map was a different map, and it was a completely wrong one. So this is where a leadership fails. This is where a leader, without even checking what he's doing, just because on random ideas, he hears something from some people and he starts executing them. Okay, so that's wrong leadership. So in order to be a very strong leader, you have to have a very strong and focused vision and mission. Okay, see, I would like to share a quote from Steve Jobs: "Don't be afraid to be different." Okay, you have to be unique. You have to be different. Okay, for a leader to be strong, you have to be different and you have to be unique. You can't follow the same process day in, day out and expect to be a great leader. You can't expect people to come and follow you by doing same and similar things what other people are doing. Okay, so in order to be a leader, you have to be different and never be afraid of taking up challenges head on. Okay, so basically, what does a leader do? A leader is one who inspires and motivates action. Okay, see, maybe when you're studying in your school or you're doing your college, maybe it's enough that you just do well in your studies. It's sufficient. Okay, but after you finish your school and maybe after you finish your college, you have to work together as a team. When you're working in a company or when you're working as an entrepreneur, okay, you might be given a task and which you will have to take everybody along to finish the task. Otherwise, the task will not be completed. Okay, so leader is the one who inspires and motivates action. Okay, so he should have the personality that, okay, I will do it, and he will be able to show the way. Okay, so strong leadership skills are required, okay, in order to change or in order to take decisions head on. Okay, the other members of your team should know that, okay, he is directing us or he or she is leading us on the right path. Okay, so that's where the strong leadership comes into play. So what are the styles of leadership? I would like to say each leader is different. Okay, so maybe like, let us say you're trying to become a leader or you're wanting to become a leader, you should try to bring in all these aspects together. Okay, one type of style is the coaching. Okay, so there are some people who, okay, I'm going to take in freshers, I'm going to take in beginners, and I'm going to train them, I'm going to coach them. Okay, so I'm going to, even if a person doesn't have the required skill sets for the current job, I'm going to coach him or her. Okay, next, the visionary, the person who sets a very clear vision and a clear mission statement. So if you take normally, if you take any top company, they have the vision and mission written everywhere. Okay, if you go to any top college, what they will do is, you take any place, okay, you turn around, you can see the vision and mission of the college. Okay, if you take a strong or a top company, everywhere, whatever is the vision and mission laid out by the founder or by the leader, okay, it is written everywhere, so that any new employee who comes into the building or enters into the college, they know where the company or where the institution is going to. Next is pace setting. See, a person cannot sit back, relax, and expect all the people to work fast and to gain results. Okay, so pace setting is a very important place. You have to work actively, efficiently. Okay, and you have to set the pace for all the other people to work. Okay, next is commanding. See, you have to deal with the iron hand at times. Okay, you can't always have the carrot with you and say like, okay, you can do well. Okay, you have to deal with certain things with the iron hand. Okay, next, democratic. See, as I told, how important commanding is, democracy, internal democracy is also important. Okay, so you have to give options to people, you have to take other people's opinion. See, an idea which is decided by a group of people is definitely more successful than an idea which is decided by an individual person. Okay, so be democratic, take people along. When their idea is heard, when the idea is implemented, more people will start to pay more respect, and they will take part in the program. Okay. Next is affiliative. See, not everybody is your competitor. Okay. Not everybody, maybe it might be inside your company or it can be outside your company. Not everybody is your competitor. Okay. You have to be affiliative. You have to tie up with many people, and in order to build strong relationship and collaborative, you have to be affiliative. So these are the 6 styles of leadership. Okay. So some of the important thing is a leader should be able to communicate very well. Okay. It's not only that, okay, I have a great thought process, but just imagine I have a great thought process and other people. So I should be able to share this thought process till the last person in the league. Okay, who in the last line of work, I should be able to share what he or she should do or what I expect from them. Okay, so how they are going to play a role. So communication plays the major role. Okay, a leader should be having very strong communication skills. Next, see, there are tough times. If you take the COVID-19 situation, I think it has challenged everybody. It has challenged the topmost. It has challenged the biggest billionaires on the planet. Okay, but you have to be motivated, because only if you are motivated will your employees or the people who are looking forward to you be motivated. Will they see a ray of hope in you? Okay, so motivation is the key. Okay, always spread positivity. Always spread positivity. It is difficult. Okay, it is difficult. No, it is not always possible for a person to come up and say, okay, we will get it done. Don't worry about it. We will take care. It is difficult. But having the positive attitude, especially when you are a leader, there might be thousands of people who are following you. Okay, thousands of people who are looking towards you and who are expecting, okay, what is he or she going to do? Okay, he or she is going to guide us. Okay, next is creativity. See, being in this generation, I think creativity plays a very important role for being a leader. You can't just use the old thing. See, like today we are connecting via Zoom. So probably we wouldn't have thought about it. And maybe I think Hari Krishna sir is connecting with thousands of people. Whatever information we are having, we are. So I think Hari Krishna sir has taken a creative initiative. Okay, he has taken a creative, innovative method to bring many people together. Okay, so let us say Joshua would like to share something, but in which platform can I share? So Hari Krishna Madam sir has given us a platform. Okay, next is always have a feedback. Okay, see, when you're ready for critical feedback, that is where you can improve. Okay, if you're not ready to take a feedback, if you're not ready to take suggestions, see, the suggestions can go against you. Do not worry, but that's the way you can improve. So that's the way you can become a great leader. So these are some of the important avenues of a leader. So, like, if you take a look at the aspects, so team effectiveness. Okay, so if a leader has to be successful, it is not that, okay, he takes the main role or he can do everything. Okay, team effectiveness is very important. Okay, and you have to do keynote addresses. You have to address people regularly. And as the previous chief guest of today, Madam Dr. Mitha said, see, social change is very important. Attach the social change to your company or to whatever initiative you take. Okay, it is not that I look towards profit all the time. As Madam rightly pointed out, whatever Anand Mahindra sir did, the Mahindra group of companies, Tata company did. Okay, sometimes you have to look at what the society requires. Okay, you have to take into consideration how can I lead my team for that social impact. Okay, healthy public policy. Look at what public needs. Okay, how can I connect with the larger audience? It is not only based on making profits. Okay, how can we bring in client-centered approach? Once again, I would like to go to what Dr. Smith ma'am said. Okay, so maybe many of your clients have a problem. See, many of my clients, okay, we are conducting training programs with more than 40 different colleges in Tamil Nadu alone. So we offered free services for most of the people. We offered whoever was ready to take up training sessions. We organized free webinars for many people. We brought in speakers from throughout the world. So I offered my clients, okay, a lot of free services. Okay, so during a time of crisis, during a time of pandemic, that is a time where you have to stand up with your client. That is a time when you have to stand up with your employees. I have more than 100 employees who work for me full time, and I have ensured that I have paid all my salaries on time. I have ensured that I have paid all my rental dues on time. So when you are a leader, okay, there is no excuses. You don't go and give excuse. Oh, it's pandemic time, I can't pay you the full salary. It's pandemic time, or it's a crisis time, I can't pay my rental dues. A leader should be client-centered services, okay, and he should stand for social change. And again, the mental health of all the people, of all your employees and clients are very important, okay. It is not only I just know them by the name. I understand what are their needs, what are the psychological needs too. Mental health needs to be addressed. So some of the leadership traits, so being loyal, okay, being loyal. See, you can't expect it from cheap people. You can't expect it from a person who's not a leader, okay. Being loyal shows that, okay, you stand for something. You stand for something more than yourself. Being empathetic, okay. See, you don't have to be, you don't have to show sympathy, but you should be empathetic towards your employee. You should be empathetic towards your clients, okay. Being empathetic shows that you are a true leader. Taking accountability, I think most of you would have seen, I would like to maybe take up Dhoni for this particular case. Okay, so it's like whenever the team loses, he stands out from the beginning and says, like, maybe the batsman, or maybe I should have batted, I should have changed my position, or I should have done better, or maybe I should have taken a different decision to bowl a different person at a particular time. So take accountability. See, it doesn't mean that you have to come and stand in the front when there's success, and you blame the other people, okay, when there's failure. So be accountable, okay. Duty and determination. Duty and determination plays a very important role, okay. Energy and encouragement, okay. Respect all the people in your team. Be selflessness, okay. Be honorable and be humble, okay. Integrity and innovation plays a very important role. Passion and pride for whatever work you do. See, whatever maybe business you are doing, okay, respect it and have pride in the work which you do. And a leader is a person who always shows the way and goes the way, okay. So it's not that I sit at my desk, okay, I sit at my desk, and from my office I just command people. I have to go on. Maybe a king has to go on to the battlefield, okay, and maybe he has to take the battle heads on. Okay, that's how a leader goes on. Okay, next slide, please. And as I told you, a leader is the one who knows the way, who goes the way and shows the way. You have to stand from the beginning, and you have to take anything heads on. Okay, failure or success, you have to take it heads on. Next slide, please. So I would like to bring about teamwork. So I think I have briefed you about leadership, why leadership is important, what are the important traits of leadership and qualities, aspects, all that I have briefed you about leadership. So there's a difference between teamwork and team building. Okay, so I would like to emphasize the two important aspects. This is very important for any entrepreneur or for any leader or anybody who wants to grow. Okay. So what is teamwork? What is teamwork and what is team building? See, let us say you are put together with a random set of people, okay, and maybe you don't have any option to work with to choose your people. So that is teamwork, okay. Understanding, appreciating, and seeing what you have within your team and working together is teamwork. And what is team building? Let us say, see, you have a process, you have a clear process in hand. You know how many people you require in your team and what are the skill set each person should have, okay, and accordingly you train the person or accordingly you recruit the person. That is called team building, okay. So a leader builds a team, okay. So sometimes you might not have that option. Can I have the next slide, please? So teamwork is the process of working collaboratively with a group of people in order to achieve a goal. Okay, you are put together with a random set of people. Okay, and you are trying to achieve the goal. Most circumstances you might be in this position. Okay, but what does a leader do? A leader doesn't only go with the existing team. He tries to build a team. Okay, the ability to identify and motivate individual employees. Okay, depending upon whatever skill set they have, and then work together to achieve the goal. There, the success is much more huger. Okay, so this is the difference between teamwork and team building. Next slide, please. So the purpose of team building activities is to motivate your people to work together. Okay, regularly what we do is we have a lot of activities, and so to all the people I say, like, see, the activity is to make, not to bring in competition, not to bring in rivalry. Okay, it is to motivate you to work together to develop your strengths. And let us say you have any weakness, nothing wrong in having a weakness, but how can we improve on those weaknesses? And we should be very clear what our weaknesses are. Okay, so that is the main purpose of team building activities. Okay, so any team building exercise should encourage collaboration, okay, rather than competition. It is, see, maybe there's a healthy competition between team members. It's good. There may be many teams and there may be competition between teams. But again, at any circumstance, if the company requires you to collaborate, you should be able to collaborate with each other as an individual and as a team. Okay, so be sure to incorporate team building in your workplace routines and practices. So being a leader, okay, don't think it is not necessary. Okay, each department will work separately. Okay, each department will have to work hand in hand, will have to know what is the aim and vision, and will have to work together to achieve the greatest success. Next slide, please. So types of team building. Okay, so how can you, like, let us say, okay, you have a team, and how can we build a team? Okay, so one is communication activities. So all lines of communication should be open at times. Okay, any point of time, all lines of communication should be open. Okay, so one. Next is problem solving and decision making activities. See, it should be decentralized. There's no point in giving a particular person a designation and holding all the command back, and maybe only you are the decision maker. That's not how a leader works. So as Warren Buffett said, identify the right person for the right job. Once you've identified the person, give them the full command. Okay, give them the decision making. At each point of time, they can take the decision. Okay. Next is adaptability and planning activities. So there might be tough scenarios. There might be very tough scenarios. Okay. There might be tough clients. There might be tough team members. Okay. So adapting to all that is very important. And then planning for the future. Okay. So a leader plans for the future. He looks at what are the future threats and he plans for the future. Okay. Activities must focus on building trust. Okay. It might be building trust with the person beside you. It might be with the next team, or it might be with your clients. But building trust. Okay. Building trust is very important. Next slide, please. Yeah, yes, sir. I'll just wind up very quickly. So some of the benefits are, say, to increase motivation, to increase collaboration, to encourage creativity. Okay, positive reinforcement is very important, and I said improve communication. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, we can skip to the next slide. Yeah, there are 4 types of teams. Very quickly, I'll just go through it. One is the project team, and can you have the previous slide? Yeah, there are 4 types of teams. One is the project teams. The project teams, these are people who design the entire project. Okay, and we have the self-managed teams, wherein it is decentralized and those teams take decisions on their own. And we have the virtual teams, people who are not there on the physical thing but on the virtual platform, and then the operation team which are there on the virtual platform. I think I would like to summarize my entire session into 2 important things: leadership and team building. 2 important skill set which everybody should possess. If you do not have it, some people, it grows naturally. Okay, nobody is a born leader or nobody is a born team player. Okay, it grows naturally. If in case you think you lack on these 2 areas, I would request all of you, like, see how you can inculcate these 2 skill set, how you can adjust, how you can adapt with people, and how you can grow your leadership skills. With that, I would like to summarize, and I would be very happy to take any questions.
I have a question for Dr. Mitha first. Ma'am, when we look at communication aspects in the inclusive society and advertisements, how do we handle that?
I think Shabla ma'am, I mean, was that question for me?
When we look at advertisements meant for I would say communication, handling advertisements for persons with disability. We see very few ads targeted to people with disability, and those are not handled very well. So how do we change that aspect?
Sharmila ma'am, that's a wonderful question. In fact, I would so agree with your observation that, you know, special needs are either seen with the lens of absolute sympathy, or it goes to the other extreme of inability, right? So there are two extremes, but you actually see some very heartening brand communication efforts that we see that are happening. Now, I, for one, have been fortunate to be part of some of these advertising, fests which judge the kind of work that is done by brands. And two of the brand-related communications which have really stood out is one, I could actually share the link with all of us, was this amazing campaign that was run by IKEA, all right, in Iran, which is actually called Disables. So instead of talking about disability for people with special needs, they have actually found that there are small hacks that can be done on products with IKEA, which will make people with special needs access them better. And rightly so, the Disables campaign won the best campaign award at the Cannes last year. This is one initiative. The other initiative that I've actually seen, which is extremely heartwarming, is the campaign that was run by Microsoft's gaming arm, right? Where they talked about how children who actually came with birth defects, which otherwise is seen very non-inclusive in gaming. How can I come up with small hacks which can create that? So as much as I would totally agree with you that we've seen extremes, but I think there is a huge breed of marketeers, young marketeers, who have come up with inclusivity as a part of their brand communication. Sharmila ma'am, I hope I managed to answer that question to some extent.
You did, Bhavan. I teach communication and disability at Mumbai University, and part of my work there is ads that can be made accessible. Even the existing ones can be converted to and
I totally agree.
that has been something that we feel here in the being taken off by advertisers.
That is extremely inspiring.
The question is, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. The other question is, this is personal experience, and I am looking at my journey from an intern in a company in Baroda to corporate vice presidentship in Bombay, and then I am back home in Baroda, but as a business owner. So all through, I have found that trust, as Yosha had put, that trust is a very vital part of the entire process in leadership. While I was an intern, that didn't come up. But as I grew in stature in the organization, that trust factor was a part of the hindrance in my career, at some point in time. Why was it that that people see disability as inability? It has happened. Like, I mean, even at the peak of my career, that 6 months it took people to look at me and figure out, okay, fine, job given, job done. But it takes 6 months, 8 months for people to trust. There shouldn't be that factor, but it happens.
Joshua sir, would you like to respond to that?
Ma'am, actually, I think the line was a bit distorted. I couldn't hear properly.
So let me try and summarize it, ma'am, Sharmila ma'am. Is why is it that right from being an intern to your rise as the senior VP of an organization, despite you having performed very well on every single assignment and job, why do people consider people with disability with a trust deficit? Is that your question, in short?
Yes, ma'am. Very well.
Okay. Basically, I'll just tell you my opinion. I feel I always felt that people who are specially challenged are always hardworking, are always very loyal. They have their integrity towards the organization is very huge, and they wouldn't be people who are looking for, okay, I'm getting a 5,000 rupees hike in a different company and I'm going to shift because of that. They wouldn't do that, and they would be ready to work with any people as a team. So they are great at teamwork. Secondly, there are people who respect other people, and so my opinion is people with disability who are able to execute the given task should be given an equal opportunity at all levels. That is my opinion. So in my institute, what we do is we have few people who are specially challenged, and who are working with us for several years. So my opinion is many companies, I think, haven't realized the full potential of each person, and that is why they haven't gone forward to recruit specially able people.
Would you?
I hope I have answered your question, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Would you look at awareness and also education in this area? In educational institutions as a course, because this is something that I have found lacking. People are not aware, and people do not look at differences within our own human species to be that diversity is not looked at healthily.
So I think I would agree with you. I think many colleges are unequipped to handle people with special challenges, and so that's why many people, even if they are able to study, what happens is especially able people, they do not complete, they do not go forward after their schooling because of the inability of various colleges or various institutions to handle specially able children participants. So I think maybe the government has to play a role in this. Government has to say that maybe at least in government institutions or maybe even in private, they can put a rule that maybe private institutions have to give a quota to specially able people, and it should be made compulsory too. So especially institutions which receive a lot of grants from governments, it should be made compulsory, I think, maybe to have a specially abled quota, wherein every year they have to take in this number of students for various streams. And by this, I think specially able children would be able to, they will try their best to adapt to the society.
They have that, sir. But the problem with us is that the implementation of the policy is lax.
Yeah, very true, very true. See, in India, there are hundreds of policies, and all those policies have been broken.
Yes.
So,
I have been a part of the bill, and that's the reason that I know that there is a quota.
So, in fact, I think just adding to what Mr. Joshua has just added, I think what we need is, as much as regulatory frameworks are important, we need a huge drift in mindsets. And I was so humbled by a wonderful, a placard that I saw in Dubai the moment I landed there to teach a class. They do not call it a disability-friendly service. They call it people of determination. All right. So in Dubai airport, nowhere would you find a placard which says disability. They say people of determination. I think that is the mindset, that shift we need to inculcate. And it's a very, very humbling moment for me when I saw that thing. In communication, I think the first thing is the story that you want to tell yourself. And I think this is the story which holds good. So I think we all need to really, work towards telling ourselves that it's about how much, it's not about how much one comes across as being efficient, it's about what somebody stands for. So I really hope we can be part of this movement.
Thank you. Thank you very much, madam. I think that gives, clear message. And on the behalf of Bringil and Vision Digital India, we would like to express our sincere thanks to Dr. Smitha, Dr. Joshua, and Shibani, who moderated so nicely the entire session. Thank you very much, and it is definitely a great learning to the people who joined through our Facebook and other social media. Definitely, this session gives a lot of inputs to each one of us. And thanks, Simran, for connecting all of us. And thank you, Sharmila Madam, for your wonderful questions. And today we are we are missing Anshu. Anshu got us some emergency. That's how we missed him. He's the managing director of Bringil, and it is just a beginning of our journey. And surely we would like to have more this kind of interaction in future coming months, with the help of all you people. And definitely, and Bringil and Vision Digital India is committed to work towards the blended learning program, where providing digital skills to all. So we need your inputs and your support to take our vision and mission into the next level. So that's all from my side, and thank you very much for your great inputs through this webinar digitally. And have a great weekend, and be safe. All the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for inviting us for the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shivani.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shimala ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Shubhani.
Dr. Madam. Thank you, Smitha ma'am. Thank you, Joshua.
Pleasure connecting with all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shibani. Take care. Looking forward seeing you in Bangalore soon.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Smita Madam. We will meet up sometime in Bangalore, definitely.
Sure.
And Joshua sir,
Nice,
I think.
Nice meeting you, Smita ma'am. Nice meeting you in this webinar, Smita ma'am. Thank you.
Absolutely, my pleasure. I hope things become normal again and we can actually meet up, in person.
Sure,
Dr.
definitely.
Smita Madam, Joshua sir conducted a global webinars just last week, where we had a wonderful interactions with people from across the world. I can say the speakers.